Have you ever wondered what actually goes on at a girl's sleepover? Well, I still don't know, because I'm afraid of women. But here's a game about them that helps me cope. Girls Night is a FNAF fan game created by developer Deer, and it's home to 3 max modes: Catfight, Crashout, Gaslight Gatekeep, and Girl Boss. Girls Night is a game based all around accuracy. There are no keyboard inputs. It's all aim and strategy. And I play mainly shooter games in my free time, so this game should be a cakewalk, right? Yeah, no. Catfight Crashout is this game's first max mode, and it's a very hard game mode. It's not even comparable in difficulty to the rest of the game, but man is it hard. It currently ranks at 177 on the max mode list. In Catfight Crashout, you pretty much have to be perfect in your decision making throughout the 3-minute and 41-second night. If you already know about the characters and how to play the game, then you can skip to the timestamp shown on the screen. But if not, then let's dive into this game's gameplay. All of the intervals discussed in this video will be referring to all characters with 35 AI and hard mode off. Also, most of the information for the characters' intervals is taken from this video that will be linked in the description, and I recommend that you watch it after this video. Without this video, I would have no clue what's going on, so please go support this guy. Let's start with the basics. Girls Night is a fairly simple game when it comes to its core gameplay. You have your cameras, 2 doors, and a flash button, and in your room you have a shock button. You get 3 more buttons once you turn on Pam, Bowtie, Turtlebot, and Neku, but I'll talk about them when I get to explaining their gameplay. The night length is also directly tied to the length of the song that plays in the background, which is 3 minutes and 41 seconds long. Whilst this is short for a night, it doesn't need to be any longer because of how much goes on during the night. Once you boot up the game, you're greeted with a menu similar to Ultimate Custom Night, where you're greeted with 9 characters. No, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Wait. No, hold on, this can't be. There's a girl. Wait, no. Where's all the men? And also, similar to the Ultimate Custom Night, you have custom challenges that are provided by the creator. While most of them are absolutely free, they are very helpful for learning the basics of the game and what the characters do. But the last 3 challenges are where this game really starts to get hard, the first of which being Catfight Crashout. Yes, there are 2 whole game modes that are harder than this. I'm so fucked. In the menu, you also might notice a little wrench button at the top left. These are the game's settings, and the night timer setting is definitely something you want to have on. All it does is add a little timer at the top of the screen. Whilst it may seem like a little change, this timer does help out a lot for tracking how long the night is and other things. Now that I'm done explaining all the gameplay basics, let's get into the characters. Swing will start in the top camera, then move down to the main hall, then to either your left or right door. Then once she's at the doors, you need to shut the door of the camera she's on. Swing will take between 0.78 seconds to 7.78 seconds to move from each camera, so it will take Swing between 1.56 seconds or 15.56 seconds to arrive at your doors. Once she arrives at the doors, she will make a sound cue to signal that she is there. She will also give you 6 seconds until she kills you. You need to shut the door on her for a cumulative 1.25 seconds, and then her kill timer is paused while the door is being closed to prevent you from dying while the door is closing. This also applies to D-Turtle as well. Also, I would like to note that you can abuse the fact that Swing's kill timer is paused while the door is closing to stall her at the doors. This will be important for the strategy section later on, so keep this in the back of your mind. The next character is Shock, and she starts in the top camera, then moves down to the main hall, and then to your left door. And she is by far the most annoying character in this game. At 35 AI, she takes 1.28 seconds to move between the cameras, so after 3.84 seconds have passed, she will appear once you drop your cameras. If you take too long, she will forcefully enter after 3.9 seconds. So at the maximum, you have to deal with Shock every 7.74 seconds. Once Shock gets into your office, you are given 1.5 seconds to click on the Shock button at the bottom left of your screen and click on the quadrant that she's in. Her strict kill timer is why she's considered one of the most annoying characters in this game. She's a consistent skill check that will screw you up, especially under a lot of pressure. Swave is an extremely easy character in Catfight Crashout. From the start of the night, Swave will take between 12.78 seconds to 28.78 seconds to attack. She will play a sound cue once she spawns, and one of the cameras will light up red. To get rid of her, you need to simply click on said camera and flash it with the camera button. She also gives you 8 seconds to do this. Pam will appear at either your left or right door every 6.78 seconds to every 13.78 seconds, and she will also play a sound cue once she spawns. When Pam spawns, you need to click on the top hat button. Once you do so, 2 buttons will appear, left and right. If she's at your left door, you click on left, and if she's at your right door, you click on right. And Pam gives you 7 seconds to do this. The only difficult part about Pam is her kill timer. Since her kill timer is 7 seconds, and the cooldown for the hat is also 7 seconds, if you click on the wrong button, you're dead. And this happens a lot more than you might think. Neku has a meter at the top left called Neku's Temper, and if this bar depletes, you die. You fill this bar by clicking on the camera that Neku is currently on and holding the button that appears. Neku will always start in the top right camera, and once you fill her meter, she has a 50-50 chance to move to the other 2 top cameras. Neku cannot stay in the same camera after getting rid of her. So let's say that you just cleared Neku from her spawn camera and she moves into the main hall. She will still have that 50-50 chance to move back to her spawn camera or move up to the top camera. Neku's meter will deplete after 51.43 seconds, and refilling her meter brings it back to full. It takes 3 seconds to refill her meter. Hat of Fortune takes between 5.78 seconds to 12.78 seconds to spawn in, and they can only spawn in whilst the cameras are up. This means that if you never open the cameras, they will never spawn in, but obviously you need to open the cameras during the run. Hat of Fortune will play a ticking sound when she spawns in, and the longer she waits in your office, the faster this noise will play. The faster the noise is, the closer she is to killing you. She will take 4.76 seconds to kill you. If you flip down the cameras and she's in your office, you get rid of her by just clicking on her. This starts to get complicated when she's in the office at the same time as Shock, because now you have to shock, and click on Hadel, and sometimes this can mess you up. Bowtie and Turtlebot are unique characters. To deal with these two, you need to keep Bowtie away from Turtlebot. At the start of the night, Bowtie will spawn in a random camera, and after 6.78 seconds to 13.78 seconds, Turtlebot will spawn on the camera that Bowtie is in. Turtlebot also plays a sound cue every time she moves from camera to camera. If Turtlebot is able to move again whilst in the same camera as Bowtie, you die. You separate the two by clicking on a different camera and clicking on the button with the Bowtie on it, and Bowtie will teleport to that camera. The cycle repeats until the night ends. D-Dub starts in the top right camera and takes between 14.78 seconds to 18.78 seconds to move between the cameras. D-Dub will start in the top right camera, then move to your main hall, then to your right door. Once she arrives at your right door, she will take 4.78 seconds to 18.78 seconds to disappear from that camera. Then, in 2 seconds, she will appear in your office. When in your office, you will deal with her the same way as Shock, but unlike Shock, D-Dub will move from quadrant to quadrant every 0.5 seconds. D-Dub will take 9 seconds to kill you from when first spawning in your office. D-Turtle is the last character, and she spawns in the top right camera, and she takes between 10.78 seconds to 15.78 seconds to move from camera to camera. She moves from the top right camera to the main hall to the left or right door. She will wait at the door for 10 seconds until she kills you, and you need to shut the door on her for a cumulative 1.15 seconds for her to go away. But D-Turtle's main gimmick is that unlike Swing, she does not make a sound cue for when she arrives. Now that's all the characters explained, and once again, most of the information here is taken from this video that will be linked in the description, and please go watch it after you're done watching this video. Now if I had to rank all of these characters on difficulty for Catfight Crashout, it would go as follows. Number 9 easily goes to Swave because how few times she spawns in throughout the night, and when she spawns in, you can deal with her really quickly. Number 8 would be D-Dub. D-Dub can trip you up sometimes, but she doesn't appear frequently enough for her to be a consistent threat throughout the night, and her kill timer is super long. Number 7 is D-Turtle for similar reasons as D-Dub. She doesn't spawn in enough to be a consistent threat, and more times than not, she arrives at the same time and place as Swing, so you can take care of them at the same time. At number 6 is where we start to get to the harder characters. At number 6 I have Pam, because she's dealt with very easily, and her Q is hard to miss as well, but she does appear pretty frequently throughout the night, and her kill timer is also pretty short. Number 5 goes to Hadel. Hadel is hard because she can disrupt a lot of the cycle if she spawns in at the wrong time. The worst time for her to spawn in is when you're refilling Neku's temper, because you might have to close cams to deal with her, and then Shock will most likely spawn in. And once you're done dealing with them, you'll be off pace for the cycle, and it can be really hard to put you back on track. Number 4 goes to Bowtie and Turtlebot. The strategy of moving Bowtie back and forth from each door camera makes this character a lot easier, and the cue for Turtlebot moving is very loud, but her kill timer is very random and you need to consistently manage them throughout the night. At third I have Swing because of her RNG. Her movement intervals are very random and sometimes she can come back as soon as you get rid of her, or other times she can be gone for upwards of 15 seconds. The second hardest character is Shock, mainly because she spawns in every 4 seconds and it can trip you up sometimes. Most of the time I find myself dying because I either missed clicking on the shock button or I shocked the wrong area. Dealing with her consistently is harder than it looks, especially when you're very deep into a run. But far and away the hardest character is Neku. Now you might be wondering why she's the hardest character, because she's a very simple character. But once you realize that the whole cycle of the run revolves around her and finding enough time to fill her meter, you realize that without her, you can play this game at a much slower pace because there's no need to find big openings. And without her, this mode would be an absolute cakewalk. Now that I've done rambling on about the characters and the gameplay, I can get into the strategy that I use to beat Catfight Crashout. At the start of the night, I choose to teleport Bowtie to the bottom right camera if she didn't spawn there already. Then I close cams and wait for Shock to spawn. Once Shock is dealt with, I reopen the cameras. Now, once you reopen the cameras, there are 2 different scenarios that can happen here, and you'll need to know how to deal with both of them. Scenario number 1, if nobody spawns in, or if Hadel spawns in. This is the most common one and the simplest one. If nobody's there, then you simply drop the cameras and deal with Shock again. And if Hadel's there, then you drop cameras, click on her, and deal with Shock. Then once you open the cameras, afterwards, somebody is guaranteed to spawn in. Scenario number 2, if Just Swing spawns in. If Just Swing spawns in, you want to wait about 3 seconds for Shock to be ready to attack again, then you want to shut the door on Swing, and then deal with Shock. Now that we're done with the opening phase of this night, we need to discuss the main focus. As stated before, the main focus is Neku. Throughout the run, you'll need to find enough time to fill up her meter, and in order to do this, you'll need to follow this checklist. The checklist goes as follows. Is Turtlebot on the same camera as Bowtie? Have I dealt with Shock recently? Is Swing, Pam, or D-Turtle at one of my doors? And has Hadel not spawned in a while? If all of these things have been checked off, you should be clear to fill up Neku's meter. Now, once you do this, you want to check one of the top 2 cameras. You need to do this because you want to keep track of where Neku is at all times. So if she's not in the camera that you checked, you now know that she is in the other camera. And if you've done all of that, congratulations. You now have completed 1 cycle, and you need to repeat that about 5 to 8 times throughout the rest of the run. Just make sure you don't give Shock enough time to force enter your office, because her already strict 1.5 second kill timer gets even more strict because now you have to waste time closing the cameras. If Shock does force enter, you must stop whatever you're doing no matter what, because if you don't do this, you will die. Since the nights last 3 minutes and 41 seconds, at around 2 minutes and 50 seconds, if you fill up Neku's meter past this time, you won't have to worry about her for the rest of the night. So now you can just slow down and take a breather, and just focus on the rest of the characters. And that's the basic strategy for the night. If you have any questions, please comment them down below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Now let's get into my journey through completing this mode. I started playing Girls Night around early March, and I have started attempting Catfight Crashout around mid-March. Now I don't have any footage of my early runs because I didn't record them. So the footage playing in the background right now is from the day of my completion. But at the start of my journey through this mode, I was not doing so hot. But I slowly started to get the hang of things, and I managed to get a couple of runs past the first cycle. In Catfight Crashout, you should have anywhere between 5 to 8 cycles throughout a run, and I consider a cycle to be over when you refill Neku's temper. And getting a run past the first cycle on the first day should be a really good sign, right? Yeah, apparently not, because for 3 whole days, I wasn't even able to get 1 run past the second cycle. Either my nerves would get to me once I make it past the first cycle, or I just die before I even got to that. But finally, on day 4, I had gotten a run past the second cycle, and I even fluked into the start of the third cycle. Well, my nerves got to me as soon as I started the third cycle, and I died to Shock. But unfortunately, I was unable to recreate this success for the days to come, and week 1 ended with a personal best of 1 minute and 37 seconds. Now this was pretty good for the first week. I was already almost halfway through the night, and I was starting to get pretty consistent with the first cycle. The start of week 2 was more of the same, but towards day 4 I noticed that I was consistently making it to the second cycle, so this should be a good sign that I would hit another PB. My next big milestone was hitting a 202. This was great for me. I was now over halfway through the night, but I was worried that the run was just a fluke. And it turns out it wasn't. I was now consistently getting to the second cycle, and sometimes even to the third. Slowly but surely, my average was climbing, and eventually, I would beat it. Week 3 was the week that I had gotten my initial win, and I really wished that I had the recording for it, because it would have been a great way to end my journey. Because my PB at the time was 202, so that means it was a fluke run from then to the end of the night at 341. But unfortunately, I don't have it. When I realized this, I was crushed, but eventually, it came down to just 2 options. Either A, I rebeat the whole night all over again, or B, just skip making a video on Catfight Crashout altogether and move on to Gatekeep Gaslight. I initially decided on just moving on to Gatekeep Gaslight, because surely Gatekeep Gaslight can't be that hard. For comparison, Catfight Crashout currently ranks at 177 on the max mode list. Realizing how far apart these 2 modes were, I knew that it would take me around a month to beat Gatekeep Gaslight. I also noticed how dead my channel has been recently. So I decided to rebeat Catfight Crashout. Now I had to completely rebeat the whole night, and what's worse is the fact that I probably wouldn't get another fluke win. But luckily for me, I was able to scoop up another win pretty quickly, my second win only taking me about 3 days of attempts. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, my complete run of Catfight Crashout. The full unedited version will be on my channel as well as linked in the description of this video if you would like to watch that. So without further ado, let's get into the run. go, baby. Come on.
Let's
Give me that
go.
shit.
Let's fucking go.
Oh my god, let's fucking go.
Holy shit, let's go,
Oh
bro.
my god, fucking took me too long to rebeat that fuck ass night, bro. Oh my god. Oh, okay, alright. Fuck. And that's it for now. My next Girls Night related video will most likely be an overview of Gatekeep Gaslight, whenever I get around to beating that. But as for now, I will hopefully return to gaming content with my friends like before. But if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. This video took me 2 days to edit and I would really appreciate your support. And thank you guys so much for watching.